Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Back to School. Today's topic is biogeochemical cycles. A biogeochemical cycle may be defined as the more or less circular path which brings about the circulation of mineral elements, including all essential elements of protoplasm, from environment to organisms and back to environment. There are a few types of atoms that can be a part of a plant one day, an animal the next day, and then travel downstream as part of a river's water the following day. These atoms can be a part of both living things like plants and animals, as well as non living things like water, air, and even rocks. The same atoms are recycled over and over in different parts of the earth. This type of cycle of atoms between living and non living things is known as a biogeochemical cycle. The nutrient cycling is of two types, the gaseous and the sedimentary cycles. In the gaseous cycle, the reservoir is atmosphere. Carbon and nitrogen cycles are the examples of the gaseous cycles. The reservoir for sedimentary cycle is the Earth's crust. Sulfur cycle and phosphorus cycle are the examples of sedimentary cycles. Here in this picture, you can observe the movement of the elements from one organism to another organism, from organisms into the biosphere and back. An essential element moves from non-living environmental reservoirs through living organisms, then back to the reservoirs. In this picture, you can observe the movement of the elements within the atmosphere. That is, from the atmosphere through assimilation and photosynthesis, these elements move to the autotrophic bacteria, plants, and algae. From them to the animals. Upon the death of the plants and animals, through decomposition, form the detritus. That is due to the microbial action on the decomposed matter, results in the formation of the detritus. From the detritus, these elements again move to the soil through the process of leaching. From the soil, these elements move to water. Even these elements form as sediments. Through the soil erosion, again the elements move to the water. Here in this picture, you can observe the movement of the elements from the atmosphere to the organisms, from the organisms back to the soil, from the soil back to the atmosphere. What is the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Carbon cycle is a gaseous cycle. Carbon is the building element of all the living organisms. The cycling of carbon between biotic and abiotic systems is called carbon cycle. The main source of carbon found in the living organisms is green atmospheric carbon dioxide and dissolved carbon dioxide in water. Thus, in atmosphere there is 0.032 percentage of carbon dioxide. This carbon moves from the atmospheric pool to green plants, that is producers, then to animals, that is consumers, and finally from these both to bacteria, fungi, and other decomposers. Then again it returns to atmosphere through decomposition of the dead organic matter. What are the different forms of the carbon? Dissolved carbon dioxide in the ocean, carbonates in the earth's crust. Again, carbon is locked in fossil deposits known as sinks. Ocean floor has deposits of methane anhydride. So you have to know what is the second most prevalent greenhouse gas emitted due to human activities. This is a question you have to answer. Much of the carbon in your body was part of the atmosphere. Some of it relatively recently added to your body. When you decompose, it will return to the atmosphere. The capture and conversion of the carbon. Water does not need to be fixed, even the sodium, but carbon and nitrogen shows the fixation. Carbon dioxide is fixed by plants during photosynthesis. First, you have to learn what is photosynthesis, how the process of photosynthesis takes place, what are the components needed for the photosynthesis. Once fixed by plants, carbon dioxide is passed up by the food chain through trophic interactions such as herbivory and predation. So, here in this picture, you can observe the fixation of the carbon in the presence of sunlight and water through the process of photosynthesis due to deforestation, due to decomposition, during the process of the respiration of the animals, the carbon dioxide gets released. So again, it actually dissolves into the water or enters into the atmospheric air. So here, the excess carbon dioxide, that is the carbon within the oceanic carbon store, gets formed the limestone, dolomite, those are the marine deposits. How carbon enters the atmospheric reservoir. Most organisms, including plants, respire. Respiration liberates carbon back into the atmosphere and provides energy to the organism. How the carbon fossilizes. If it is not eaten and respired or decomposed, organic carbon may become buried and enter a carbon reservoir in the soil, ultimately fossilize. Then coming to how fixed carbon can also return to the atmosphere. If the plant material gets burned, sometimes naturally through respiration, through human activities, through volcanic activity, when a tectonic plate goes underneath a continent, superheated oceanic material up gases through geological vents and re-enters the atmosphere. So, through these processes, the fixed carbon can also return to the atmosphere. Global warming and anthropogenic climate change. Carbon dioxide has a crucial role in the climate of the earth. Why? Because it is quite transparent to light at the visible wavelengths and relatively opaque to infrared light. Greenhouse gases trap heat, force a higher equilibrium temperature. Methane and chlorofluorocarbons. These are the greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is the most important because it occurs at higher concentration. Sudden increases in carbon dioxide within the atmosphere can be linked to a sudden warming of the climate. An event occurred in the Miocene 15 million years ago, that is known as global cooling. Here in this picture, you can observe the causes of global warming. So, greenhouse gases are responsible for the global warming and humans emit them in a variety of ways. Most of the greenhouse gases come from the combustion of fossil fuels in cars, factories, and electricity production. This picture shows the atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration from the millions of years ago. The curve represents the averages of estimates of past concentration based on several different methods. Carbon dioxide concentration have increased significantly over the course of the last 150 years. Burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, cutting and burning of forests, carbon that once was locked in the earth released into the atmosphere. huge stores of fossilized carbon. This fossilized carbon during the Carboniferous period, that is 200 million years ago. Liberation of these stores into the atmosphere had the potential to dramatically change the climate of the Earth. Evidence is mounting that these higher carbon dioxide levels have already affected the climate of the Earth. Some possible effects include the higher temperatures at high latitudes, drier continental interiors, more unpredictable weather patterns, extreme storms, and extreme heat events, the potential for tropical diseases to enter higher latitudes and higher elevations. Currently, farmable areas to become too dry to farm. Interference to oceanic thermohaline circulation results in very cold conditions in Europe and Eastern North America. Interference to oceanic productivity through changes in pH and increases in sea level. This picture shows the 1,000 years of global carbon dioxide and temperature change. So, this picture shows the to decrease the global warming, let's cool it through the conservation of energy, through the green power by planting trees. It is important to stop global warming. How it works? Here in this picture, you can observe a big balloon which gets released into the atmosphere. Then coming to the nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen is one of the most common elements that form biological molecules. It is a major component of amino acids, also a primary constituent of nucleic acids. The major reservoir for nitrogen is the atmosphere. 78% of the Earth's atmosphere contains the nitrogen. This nitrogen is not able to use it in that form because it contains a triple bond which is very stable. Therefore, it is biologically inert. A large amount of energy is required to break the triple bond. This nitrogen in the atmosphere, due to the lightning, gets converted into nitrate. Again, due to industrial fixation, this nitrogen gets converted into ammonia. This ammonia gets converted into nitrate, from the nitrate to nitrate through the nitrifying bacteria. These nitrates gets utilized by the living organisms through the absorption into the plants. So here this nitrogen forms the protein in the plants. This protein, upon the death of the organisms, either the animal or the plants, again upon the decay, reconverted into ammonia, and ammonia to nitrates, and then to nitrates. Then nitrates to again the nitrogen re-enters into the atmosphere. Three processes are responsible for most of the nitrogen fixation in the biosphere. Atmospheric fixation is by lightning, biological fixation by microbes alone or in symbiotic relationship with plants through industrial fixation. The picture shows the nitrogen fixation, nitrification and denitrification. Nitrogen to ammonia, ammonia to nitrites and nitrates, then again to nitrogen. Four processes participate in the cycling of nitrogen through the biosphere: nitrogen fixation, nitrification, denitrification, and ammonification. This picture shows the atmospheric nitrogen gets absorbed by the plants. From the plants, again upon the eating of the predators on the plants, it enters into the animals from the animals upon their death enters again to decomposition into soil. In this picture, you can observe the atmospheric nitrogen in air gets converted into ammonia. From the ammonia to nitrate, nitrite to nitrate, then nitrate to again to atmospheric nitrogen. This picture shows the nitrogen through the nitrogen fixing bacteria gets converted into ammonia through the ammonifying bacteria gets converted into ammonium, then this ammonium converted into nitrate. So here the plants absorb the nitrate, converts into ammonium. Nitrate and nitrogenous organic compounds exported in xylem to shoot system through the root. Decomposed nitrogen compounds, ammonia, nitrate, and nitrates become available for other plants to absorb and recycle. Alternatively, other bacteria known as denitrifiers. The water cycle. Water that has evaporated into the atmosphere condenses and falls as precipitation. This precipitation will either run off as surface water and collect as streams or rivers. It can seep into the ground and collect in huge underground rock formations called aquifers that act much like sponges. The water eventually flows back from lakes or streams down into oceans, where it can reside for long periods of time or get evaporated back up into the atmosphere as water vapor, which collects as clouds. A portion of the water absorbed into the ground is taken up by plants. The plants use the water to transport minerals internally. The water gets take part in biological processes of an organism. Some of this water is transferred to animals that feed on plants. From there, water can cycle within the web of an ecosystem. Water can be given off to the atmosphere by plant leaves through transpiration, by animals through respiration, perspiration, or excretion. Here in this picture, you can observe the water cycle. Through the clouds, by way of precipitation, the water which is stored in ice and snow moves through runoff to streams. Some of the water gets stored as groundwater. Some of the water moves to springs and some of the water gets evaporated. Some of the water moves to ocean and again through evaporation, evapotranspiration, by way of condensation, the water again forms the clouds. Oxygen cycle. Oxygen is one of the main components of Earth's atmosphere. It can be found with the other elements always. Two oxygen atoms make up one oxygen molecule and three oxygen atoms together make up the molecule called ozone. As a gas, oxygen is odorless. As a gas, oxygen is odorless, colorless, and highly reactive. Oxygen is essential for the survival of many organisms, and in the ozone provides protection to life by filtering out the sun's ultraviolet rays. There are three main reservoirs: biosphere, that is the living things; lithosphere, that is the earth's crust; atmosphere, that is the air. Within the biosphere and atmosphere, plants begin the oxygen cycle and animals continue it. Photolysis also donates to a large portion of the oxygen in the atmosphere, where high energy ultraviolet radiation breaks down the atmospheric water and nitrate. The biosphere and atmosphere. Much of the oxygen present in the atmosphere is used during respiration and decay mechanisms where animal life and bacteria consume oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Oxygen is also cycled between the biosphere and lithosphere. This picture shows the oxygen cycle. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel.